the greatest tennis coach of all motherfucking time with 180 or 190. Now he's got 190 some championships under his belt, and he can't play fucking tennis. If we had a average person that comes to the seminar, and there are no average because you're all different, but if there was an average, he's the opposite, 180 degrees. And he's the most successful tennis coach of all time. Remember I told you don't have to know anything. One of the little clips I have on YouTube is you don't have to know anything to be a billionaire. Yet you want to know everything. You've heard the people talk, and so far, how much time did you put in researching where you want to do vis-a-vis QLA? Nothing, 15 minutes. Mr. Peña said so, Mr. Peña said so, Mr. Peña said so, that's it. Right? But you in this fucking room, I will bet my fucking dick, are going to do, at least some of you, a lot of research. And you can equate the more research you do with your insecurity. You can equate the more research you do with your lack of self-esteem. You can equate the more research you do with your lack of self-confidence. Some of you have already done research. You either want to be liked or you want to be effective. It's your question and it's you to answer. You want to be liked or you want to be fucking effective. Everybody in this room is a pleaser at one degree or another. I've been called a lot of fucking things in my 75 years. But I can guarantee you one of them isn't a pleaser. Some people say QLA is going out of your way to piss on people and take their fucking money and fuck them where they breathe. That's a little harsh, but true. But true. This is the time. And remember, you're spending 95% of your time looking for money and deals. And it's very difficult when you've run a business all your life to step back from the management of it. Unfortunately, most of the time you're going to be disappointed on the people that you turn over management to. And even though they've worked with you 5 or 10 years. Because you haven't really held them accountable. You'll be disappointed in their lack of performance. And it'll be harder for you to get rid of them because you've got baggage with them. Especially if they're related to you. And that's just the way. And I know all of you guys that have business are living out of the businesses. You're paying everything out of company expenses. I know that. That's got to stop. That does stop. Can't do that anymore with the new thing. That's why, for those of you that have jobs or have a business, milk it, work it until you've done your first 4 or 5 deals and you can pay yourself out of the new business and then step away like Anelli did. Or, in some cases, just close it down. But you can't be paying for your kids' tuition out of the new entity. Out of the new entity. Because when you're going to go buy these companies, you're going to see that's what they do. And they're going to say, well, I pay my wife 400,000 pounds a year. She must be a great fuck because she's not doing anything in the business. And so when you start adding these back or subtracting them, depending on what it is, and they realize, well, fuck this, I'm not making any money here, other than supporting my 2 daughters that have, spread their legs too much, that got kids with no husbands, my half-foot brother, but I'm not making any money. Well, that's not my problem. I'll buy the business based on this. Based on this. And that's why you've got to ascertain the difference between a prospect and a suspect. A prospect is somebody that you can buy. A suspect is somebody that will return your call. When I was screaming and yelling at you guys last night, I thought, they just don't get it. I can see in their eyes. They don't get it. And only those who risk. And so I redid all the fucking slides. I took out 400 slides, and the slides you're going to see for the next 2 days are the slides, and I read your shit. I reread some of your shit not shit, your homework. I reread your shit. And we're going to focus the last 2 days on the stuff that you're still sorely lacking. And the bottom line is you're still afraid. You're still risk averse. Some of you are more risk averse than others. Now, you're less risk averse than these assholes watching me on YouTube, because you're fucking here. But only those who risk going too far can possibly find out how far one can go. And I've already told you, I've always pushed myself, even as a kid. Fighting bigger kids and all kinds of, I always pushed myself because I wanted to be seen as a real man in my dad's eyes. In hindsight, I see that now. And when he was in his late 80s, early 90s, and we'd sit and talk, I talked more than he did. And he didn't get that I was doing it for him. He didn't get that part. He just didn't. Why? You know, you're already successful. You don't have to do anything to prove to me. But the risk involved, and this Irish kid that I beat up, he went on and he did the deal. I was raised that the only way you learn is by doing. The last 25, 30, 35 years is they're raised, but they want case studies and they want this, and they want that, and even though there were case studies at the more prosperous schools, which I didn't go to, I never understood. And that's why I chased people like Constantine Gratsos down of Onassis, amongst one, because he was the best, I thought, at the time. I now know. And so I chased down extremely successful people and to learn by. And now I eat podcasts. For the life of me, I don't get it. And I made a huge mistake at Oxford University 5 years ago when people were asking me about podcasts. And for those of you, the pundits that really know what I've said, I said, podcasts, forget about it. There's only 4 or 5 that have made any money. At that time, I was correct. But now there's 4 or 5,000, or 4 or 5 million, I don't know, have made money, and I got that market wrong. I grossly underestimated how a fucking meathead would listen to some cocksucker who's made no fucking money, but he's got a podcast and he gets a couple influencers to sell to you. The United States is going to lose about $25 billion a month because of Corona in revenue, GDP. And I said that they're going to lose between 5 and 10 billion additional over the 25 because of lack of productivity. Because if you think that you're 114 or 180 or 60 virtual employees that you will now have, if you're these big companies that aren't going to have you come back to the office, are going to be anywhere near as productive, you're crazy. I asked my two of our children, who are managers that aren't supposed to come back to work till January, that manage people. They said, Dad, I don't know what these people are thinking when they think they're going to be as productive or even remotely as productive. They show adverts here on the telly where a guy is trying to do something on his laptop. He's wearing boxer shorts, because he's in a Zoom meeting. A shirt with a tie, boxer shorts. His 5-year-old is pulling at his microphone or whatever, and his dog is chewing his slippers. Now, I know why they're doing the advert, because they're trying to make you feel better. But in no way, how can that equate to more productivity? Then they got another advert where the guy's got 3 little girls, cute as anything. One girl comes from behind and pushes her father into the computer laptop. And the other 2 sisters, I assume they're her sisters, are doing all kind of shit. And why are you so stupid that you think you're going to be as productive? Now, for those of us that have worked from home a long, long time, I'm more productive if I don't have to travel. But even when I traveled, I did work in my limo. Most of you, not yet, don't have the luxury of going to work in a limo. I've got 4 or 5 Hall of Famers that have just acquired limos or in drivers in the last 3 or 4 or 5 years, and they say, God almighty, I don't know how I ever existed without a limo and working in the back. Bunker Hunt, which I had the privilege of being in business with, Bunky Hunt, the billionaire Bunker Hunt brothers, that were the sons of the original Hunt that found the West Texas oil field, that were the beginnings of Chevron, etc. Said, Danny, if you're worried about paying taxes, you're not making enough fucking money. So I don't worry about paying taxes, but okay. But your question is, okay, you pay yourself $100,000 salary or $1 million, whatever the salary is. You're going to pay ordinary income tax on that. Ordinary income, personal income tax. Pardon? Well, whatever it is, I don't know. Okay. If you live in Florida, no. State tax. This is the United States. If you live in other states, you pay, in addition to your personal tax, you'll pay state tax. Corporate tax is different. Corporate tax is the money you make after and pay to the bottom line after all expenses. Then in Europe, it's a pre-tax number. In America, it's a post-tax number. It's after tax, and depending on the tax bracket. So a dividend is paid to you or a company. If you take it in a company, you're paying the regular income tax bracket for that entity. On a bonus, it's like an addition to your salary. So, and the only people that are deemed to get bonuses are people that the board of directors, which is you, deem to pay the bonus. So on every deal, a couple of the guys that you heard yesterday, I happen to be on their board. I'm their chairman, so I've gotten bonuses on deals, even though I tell them I don't want any money. I've gotten bonuses. So I will pay, and the bonuses aren't made out to me because all my income is in a trust, goes to a trust, so it's in the Guthrie Castle Trust. So I pay trust tax. In some cases, I don't pay any tax. But they're two different. One is personal income tax rate, and one is corporate income tax rate. But don't worry about that. If you're worried about that, you can tell you've been poor. Another thing that differentiates, I can tell when somebody's at a table or you go to a cocktail party, not now, and they stand around having drinks, right, and they're talking about taxes, blah, 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 and they're talking, in America, they're talking about Trump. And here they were talking about, probably the last drinks party I went to was before Boris got elected. And they're worrying about various corporate rates and various personal rates. But the bottom line is that you will dictate how much you get paid vis-a-vis bonuses. You will dictate how much you get paid. And that's where the real money is.